the unprecedented cinematic universe journey, 10 years in the making, spanning the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. Marvel Studio presents Avengers Infinity War, brings to the screen the ultimate and deadliest showdown of all time. They're kind of right on that part. So, this has been a movie that so many fans who started out with the Marvel Cinematic Universe when it was first starting up, before Marvel was bought by Disney even, was this unprecedented journey that was like, no way they can make a cinematic universe and make a movie with Iron Man. This was a movie. These were a series of films filled with characters you didn't think could show up in cinema because they aren't as well known as Spider-Man. They aren't as well known as the X-Men, and they both belonged to Sony and Fox at the time. But through creativity, effort, and not a corrupted company trying to breathe down their necks like they made a horrible, like a trilogy of movies that fans really hate with a fiery passion, wrinkles, they were allowed to basically craft a big, multi-billion-dollar franchise out of this, and yeah, this long-form storytelling, culminating in almost every Marvel movie up until this point, has now led to here. The movie actually takes place following the events of Thor Ragnarok. Oh yeah, speaking of this, this is where the timeline is going to get confusing for people. Apparently, it's revealed that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, that takes place a few months after Guardians of the Galaxy 1. And Avengers Infinity War takes place 2 years after the events of, well, Civil War. But from what I was hearing, apparently this also means that Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is taking place 4 years before Infinity War, which means that they really need to release that timeline to get everything right. So, yeah, that confused me. Like, wait, so you mean to tell me between the 4 years between Guardians of the Galaxy 2 up to Infinity War, nothing eventful happened that may say this deserves to be a movie? I call bullshit. I call BS on that, but still. Anyways, this film takes place after the events of Thor Ragnarok, focusing after Thanos have apparently slaughtered Xandor and by extension the Nova Corps. Thanos and the Black Order have attacked Thor's ship as it fled Asgard. On board, it's all chaos and whatnot. All the Asgardians are dead. Yeah, here's the other thing. Korg, we don't know what happened to him. Valkyrie, no idea what happened to her. Yeah, they just disappeared. I don't think Korg is dead per se, because they did say that because the character was so popular, they want Korg to come back for future movies, so I don't think he's dead yet. Well, okay, if I'm thinking where this is going, then he's probably dead in this timeline. Yeah, I think you know where I'm going with this. So, after Thanos demands the Tesseract, which leads to the question of, wait, how the hell does he know that the Asgardians have the Tesseract? Yeah, they never explained that part. I thought, like, does Thanos have some sort of... does the Gauntlet have an ability to track the Infinity Stones? That really confused me on that. And then Thor claims that the Tesseract was destroyed with Asgard. But, yeah, Thanos isn't that dumb. He knows the trickster of the group he had at one point knew the answer to that. Loki is revealed to have stolen the Tesseract, confirming everything everyone knew. And Thanos demands that he hand it over to him. However, Loki stalls Thanos long enough for Hulk to engage him in battle. And it lasts for a good 9 seconds. And then Thanos beats him to a bloody pulp and prepares to kill him before everyone's favorite Heimdall, I'm pretty sure I pronounced that wrong, uses the Bifrost to send Hulk to Earth. And Thanos stabs him. Yeah, he's dead too. And Loki is forced to relinquish this Tesseract to in order to spare Thor when Loki realizes that Thor was about to get killed because of the powers of the Power Stone. And sure enough, Loki offers to join with Thanos and pledge his undying devotion. And in reality, that was a huge lie, and he tries to slit Thanos' throat. But Thanos is really, 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 really freaking OP. So, from just 2 stones. So yeah, he called, I called it. And then he proceeds to choke Loki to death. Yeah, Loki's dead. The guy who started off the craze for more complex villains in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is dead in the first 10 minutes. Actually, it felt like only 5 minutes, but still. Before the opening credits even. Thor is in horrendous pain because he just witnessed the last of his family. The whole point of Thor Ragnarok was now rendered completely superfluous. So, yeah, everything Thor fought for meant nothing. In fact, it would have actually been pretty freaking awesome if we had the movie open with Thanos' army attacking Asgard. That actually would have been pretty awesome. Especially if we got another scene like, whoever you are, whatever you've done, surrender now, or we will show you no mercy. Whoever I am, did you not listen to a word I said? Mirroring off of Hela, because according to the comics I was looking up from the Cosmic Wonder YouTube channel, shout out to him, Hela and Thanos also dated once upon a time. Yeah. So, yeah, he basically is trying to have sex with anyone who has any relation to the correlation of death. Yeah, could we easily claim this is the N-word and not that other word? I'm talking about what happens when you're interested in something that's dead. I refuse to say it. Moving on, since that is not even related to this movie, unlike the Infinity Gauntlet. So anyways, so Loki's dead, Valkyrie and Korg are missing, or probably dead, Heimdall is dead, all of Asgard except for Thor is dead. So Thanos decides to send his children to hunt down the Infinity Stones from Earth, and then destroys the rest of the ship with the Power Stone, leaving Thor drifting in space. Now we get our title sequence, and that made you realize, oh yeah, this is gonna get people are gonna die, aren't they? Okay. So we see Hulk being transported all the way crash landing to Earth in the New York sanctum of the sorcerers, where he transforms back into Bruce Banner right when he sees, just at the moment when Doctor Strange and Wong were about to leave for food, I think. And after informing them what's happening, Banner then goes ahead and Doctor Strange visits Tony Stark. Oh man, I forgot to put spoiler warnings. I'll put that in the description probably, if I remember. Sorry. So, yeah. So Doctor Strange goes ahead to Tony, who's promising no more surprises to his future wife, Pepper Potts. Yeah, that ended in the last 3 seconds, though it's not because of his control. So that means Tony sort of broke his promise to his fiancée in less than 3 seconds. Record. I at least would have given it a day. So after that, they go ahead and skip the whole what the hell are the Infinity Stones crap in like couple of minutes, in about a minute or so. So basically that was quick. And then Tony Stark goes ahead and asks who Thanos is, what's his name, and then Banner it's not really for some reason. It could actually make sense once I explain this. Banner seems to know who the hell Thanos is, even though he's been the Hulk for 2 years. So, what exactly happened? Like, did the Hulk tell him? Like, okay, if I had to guess this part, when Banner explains to Thanos, he's a plague, Tony. He ravages planets. He wipes out half the population, and yada yada yada. And reveals that Loki was the one he was sent to. And by the way, love no mention of Loki has been also a victim of Thanos' oppression. So yeah. Anyways, Tony being the genius of stupidity right now, because his ideas are not really the greatest as they used to be. Ultron. He says why don't he just dump the time stone in the garbage disposal? And all I'm thinking is, okay, there are 2 things wrong with that idea. 1, that is stupid. 2, if you somehow found a way to destroy it, won't the time stone cause a destruction of all reality? Or at least a half of it? Okay, maybe a quarter at best. But yeah, and then Doctor Strange says he can wipe out all life hitherto undreamt. I'm pretty sure I pronounced that wrong. That's the words I kept hearing. And of course, Tony Stark is like completely confused of all of this, and then basically Doctor Strange's cape hits him. So there now I know why Bruce Banner was cut out of why he disappeared after Age of Ultron, because they needed to do an exposition scene, primarily about the whole Civil War event, and also to reveal that Vision has went MIA. So Stark reluctantly agrees to call Steve Rogers for help. Yeah, they never meet up again. So we never get that moment where we see him try to kill Bucky. I was actually kind of hoping for a conflicted scene like that. But anyways, right before he can make that call, the group is attacked by Ebony-Maw and Quill Obsidian before he can do so. As the group fights, Peter... this was right when they heard a disturbance going on with this giant donut-shaped ship. Seems really impractical. And sure enough, Peter Parker sees the ship and tells Ned to cause a distraction right before Ned actually does it by seeing it and then freaking out. And Spider-Man goes off to save the day. Yeah, it does not end well. Also, here's the thing that really annoys me. I know this is not really their, quote, business per se, but where in God's name are the Defenders? No, seriously. Like, I keep hearing how they're all connected and whatnot. Yeah. Like, I heard there was a business issue that caused a divide between Marvel Studios and Marvel TV Studios. I don't know the full details on that, but, like, cameos. Like, you got cameos for the movie. Why not get cameos for the Defenders? Why not have them help fight with Iron Man? That would make so much sense. Especially after the end of the Defenders Season 1 miniseries. Didn't Iron Fist say that he would protect New York due to Daredevil's, quote, death? Like, even if they have no connection with the Infinity Stones, their world's being threatened, they gotta do something. So, yeah, we never see them, so either A, the TV series have been nullified, or it's gonna be the altered timeline theory I have going. So, during the whole skirmish, and in fact, a lot of this stuff is pretty awesome. This movie's awesome. Maw is able to intercept and abduct Strange. Yeah, wow, you suck at this, everybody. Taking him to one of Thanos' ship, Parker and Stark are able to stow away on the ship as it takes off. Meanwhile, Bruce Banner and Wong go ahead and Well, Wong is gone for the rest of the movie, and yeah, he was basically useless. While Banner just makes the phone call, thus rendering that could have been emotional moment superfluous. Anyways, the Guardians are responding to the Asgardian distress call. Yeah, that kept making me wonder something. Why did they not get informed about the Nova Corps? Simple question. Like, you would think that the Nova Corps being wiped out in a horrible blaze of glory by Thanos and his army would take precedent for the Guardians to go out and do something about it. We should do something! Should we do something? Linkara. So, yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy arrive, and they find Thor drifting through space. And, yeah, Peter Quill gets bashed a lot in this movie. Yeah. And Gamora is somewhat massaging Thor's muscles. Oh man, and the comedy between Thor and Star-Lord is absolutely hilarious. Like, there's this big, buff, muscular badass, and there's Star-Lord, who, to me up, he was like, well, you're not as badass if you're right next to a thunder god. So, yeah. And that leads to a hilarious scene where basically it results in Thor thinking that Star-Lord's mocking him, and basically goes with, "You mocking me? Look at him. He's trying to copy me." Oh man. Trying to act all manly and whatnot, except when he should shut up because he should know what it's like to lose someone he cares about, and realizes that one of his family members is a piece of shit. Yeah. Yeah, so after Thor is awakened and wakes up to reveal Thanos' goals to the group, Gamora has to explain that Thanos that if should Thanos obtain all 6 stones, he would be able to wipe out half of sentient life with the snap of his fingers. Yeah, mostly just half of life. They don't say sentient, so basically it's being indiscriminate. Thor indicates that Thanos will next be heading to nowhere, as that's where he left the Reality Stone, and for him to kill Thanos, he will need to attain a new weapon. So the group splits up, and with Thor, Rocket Raccoon, and Groot, and Thor, for some reason, is able to understand what the hell Groot's saying, and apparently that was an education elective. What? Meanwhile, Thor keeps mistaking Rocket Raccoon for an entirely different animal. And I was expecting him to scream saying he's a raccoon. So they head off to, not even try to pronounce it, the Peter Dinklage planet. Yeah, he's in this movie. To forge a new weapon to replace Mjolnir. Yeah, it took me forever to, get that right. So then the remaining members of the Guardians travel to nowhere to retrieve the Reality Stone from the Collector. Back on Earth, Vision and Wanda, aka the Scarlet Witch, are shown to be hiding in Scotland, happily in love. This is in the comics, so if anyone doesn't know, now they know. And knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe! While walking the streets, the pair are attacked by Proxima, Midnight, and Galv, who begins removing the Mind Stone before they are stopped by the combination of Captain America, fuck yeah, Black Widow, and Falcon, with Scarlet Witch helping out. Rogers, Romanoff, Wilson, Vision, and Maximoff then travel to the Avengers headquarters, where they meet James Rhodes, and Banner. And to an extension, Secretary Ross, who is pissed off seeing them because God knows that politicians wouldn't stop wanting to bitch about everything in the event of a huge Armageddon war going on. Wait. Anyways, yeah, and I was really, really hoping that Vision would just look at James and just be having this guilt eat his mind stone, whatever, reminding him, oh yeah, I kind of crippled you. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. So Vision suggests that Maximoff has the power to destroy the Mind Stone in his head, but she refuses, as doing so would kill him. And the team heads off to Wakanda in hopes that Shuri will be able to separate the stone from Vision and destroy it before Thanos can possess it, and will not kill Vision. So, yeah, that won't end well, I think. And when I was in the audience, everyone was clapping when they saw Black Panther and whatnot. Everyone was clapping to see Black Panther in Wakanda. So, back with Thanos, on Thanos' ship, Mob begins torturing Strange in an attempt to learn how he has hidden the Time Stone. Yeah. While doing so, Parker and Stark, who the latter is pissed off that Peter got on board because the Iron Suit was apparently supposed to keep getting back on planet, even though really Peter wouldn't know how to control it yet. So, yeah, after that, they worked together and made a bunch of pop cultural references after Parker had basically said, so really, it's your fault. And Stark is like, are you kidding? What did you just say? Like, yeah. Peter, this guy created Ultron. Go to hell. At least he's just something that saved your life, whereas he could have just made a device that kills everybody, or tries to. So, after making references to Alien, talking about how Parker does not want an egg in his chest to burst out of him. Yeah. So they dislodge Ma out into space to die of asphyxiation. With Strange save, the trio decide to head to Titan to fight Thanos there, hoping to catch him off guard. And they reference Iron Man, Iron Man 3, and last but not least, the Avengers, tying in more continuity that fans will have to watch in order to understand if they have not yet watched this. Where Tony explains why he feels like he wants to take the fight back to Titan, to Thanos' homeworld, because he knows what happened last time with the Chitauri. He knows what he went through. He knows he almost died, and he doesn't want more people to be put at risk here in the crusade of war. So, yeah. So we get back to the Guardians, arriving to nowhere, where they witness Thanos torturing the Collector for the Reality Stone. And sure enough, Drax is trying his damnedest not to kill him. He fails miserably and prepares to kill him, but luckily Mantis is there to save the day, and she fails miserably by creating a lot of noise. Gamora is able to attack and seemingly slit Thanos' throat, and I was like, yeah, I know where this is going. Thanos reveals that he has already obtained the Reality Stone and used it to manipulate their surroundings. And somehow deducing that, yeah, I knew you were coming here. He easily incapacitates Drax and Mantis by transforming their reality, for some reason only temporarily. I actually thought they were dead right there. Gamora begs Quill to kill her, as he had promised to do so, which led to a kiss. And Drax being a creepy weirdo, just staring at them. Batista is so hilarious. But before Quill could fulfill his promise and end his romantic love's life, Thanos uses the Reality Stone to stop Star-Lord from killing her, and he teleports away with Gamora. All while Star-Lord is now in anger or despair. Oh, please, it's not going to get worse. It's going to get worse, isn't it? Meanwhile, Thor, Groot, and Rocket meet the dwarf Eltiri. I'm pretty sure I got that wrong. And he's not really a freaking dwarf, he's a giant. Played by Peter Dinklage. Yeah, Tyrion Lannister is now part of the cinematic universe of Marvel. Yes. Also, if you're wondering, wait, where the hell is Hawkeye? Where's Ant-Man? Oh, well, you see, that was explained that they're not in the movie. Yeah, they get promoted a lot. They're not in the movie. I'm like, they weren't in the clips, but they were at premieres and whatnot. Yeah, apparently it was reported that they are under house arrest because they turned themselves in and worked out a deal with the government. Thanks, International Community of United Nations Sokovia Accords. You just may have doomed this planet more so. So anyways, yeah, I get why they turned themselves in, because whereas Steve Rogers doesn't really have attachments except for Agent Carter's niece. Yeah, they never bring her up ever again. So, moving on, I get why Ant-Man and Hawkeye did not be in this movie. I get it. Because Hawkeye and Ant-Man, they have family. Hawkeye has a family. Ant-Man wants to do right with his daughter, even when his ex-wife doesn't want to do anything with him to an extent. But I get it. He wants to do right. He thought he was doing what was right, but he just couldn't bring himself to just run away and just forget this whole and act like his daughter didn't matter to him, because that would probably be the vibe he would get, which I hope leads to an emotional scene in Ant-Man and the Wasp. By the way, I'll talk about that in a little bit. So, Thor is able to restart the heart of the dying star and create an axe called Stormbreaker, which has the power of the Bifrost. Now, through this, we get a hilarious sequence beforehand where Rocket Raccoon and Thor actually bond and discuss their past issues with life in general. And Thor trying to be the tough guy because I am a man and whatnot, when really he just wants to break down and cry amid wanting to say, everyone I loved is dead. My brother's dead, my sister, who was a piece of shit, is dead, who I never knew for my whole life, my dad's dead, my mother's dead, by dark elves. Yeah, they referenced that. I'm a little surprised by that. Because, really, if you think about it, with the exception of the Reality Stone, what purpose was Thor the Dark World? So, yeah. And thus, to render more of Thor Ragnarok's superfluousness, Thor gets a new eye. Yeah. Yeah. So, with the creation of the Stormbreaker and almost Thor dying, Groot decides to make the handle for it. Honestly, I thought he was gonna die right there. Yeah, I honestly thought Groot was gonna sacrifice his life to be the new handle, but apparently that was not gonna happen. So, yeah. Back on Earth, Shuri finds a method to separate the stone from Vision and begins to work on it. Meanwhile, Captain America, Steve Rogers, Bruce Banner, Vision, Maximoff, and Romanoff arrive in Wakanda, where they are greeted by King T'Challa and the now recuperated Bucky Barnes with a new awesome arm. Yeah. And after some examination and hoping to go ahead and make a joke about this, make Banner look like a fool and say, we didn't think that through. Where he should have said, lady, we were in a rush. We were kind of dealing with Ultron and the destruction of all organic life in the entire planet. So really, could you just shut up? And plus, now, I didn't mention the Hulk at all throughout this thing besides the beginning. Yeah, Hulk's not in this movie to a major extent. Yeah, apparently he doesn't want to come out for some reason. And they never explain why. He can't figure out why. So I can only say the one theory that is actually that makes the most sense. Hulk is either too hurt by his pride, or he is just as pissing his pants in fear as Bruce Banner is, and he isn't going to be able to convince him to transform. Yeah, in fact, I was honestly expecting Bruce Banner to say, oh, come on, the one time that you don't want to come out, I need you. Really? Yeah. So back on his ship, Thanos force is having this pretty emotional conversation with Gamora, because we do get a flashback sequence where how Thanos met Gamora, and yeah, we also get a little bit of humanity in Thanos. Okay, yes, what he believes is horrible and is genocide, but his reasoning is understandable, why you can relate to it, why you could somewhat relate to why he feels this way. I mean, like, the way he's going about it is seriously fucked up, but, yeah. Gamora keeps expressing how much she hated Thanos, how much she hated her life, how much she hated everything around her that's on the ship. But Thanos admits, yeah, I know. However, it is revealed that she knows where the Soul Stone is, referencing that conversation that Star-Lord had with her. Yeah, and I was surprised by that. Yeah, I was more surprised what happened next afterwards. But before I get to that, Thanos makes Gamora reveal the location of the Soul Stone by torturing her sister Nebula by ripping her pieces apart, after apparently Nebula tried to kill him, and almost succeeded. So Gamora and Thanos travel to Vormir, where they meet. Oh god, I was honestly surprised by this. They meet Red Skull. Yeah, Red Skull didn't die in the first Avenger movie, Captain America. Yeah, it revealed that he survived. He was alive for God knows how many years, probably over 100, probably near 100 by now. And yeah, I'm wondering, how are you still alive if you've been on this planet for God knows how long, and you've been looking for these stones as well? Yeah, I was generally surprised by that. Like, it was said that Hugo Weaving didn't want to come back, so they had to get an actor to play him, but as an older version of him, which I understand. But yeah, would that make it for a pretty awesome movie with the Guardians having to fight Red Skull and what he planned to do? So, yeah. Then he guides them to a nearby cliff, and Red Skull has to explain to Thanos that in order to obtain the Soul Stone, it requires the sacrifice of someone he loves. And Gamora starts to laugh, believing that he has failed in his mission. However, when he turns around and sees tears in his eyes, she immediately thinks that he's just despairing over the fact that he's failed. No, Red Skull says those tears are not for him. And Gamora realizes what he's thinking. With tears in his eyes, Thanos sacrifices Gamora by tossing her off for the Soul Stone, while Nebula escapes from the ship. So yeah, one of the members of the Guardians is dead. Man, that's gonna make Volume 3 pretty uncomfortable. But it can't get worse, right? Things are gonna get worse, aren't they? So, as Stark, Strange, and Parker arrive on Titan, they are attacked by an enraged Star-Lord, Drax, and Mantis after mistaking each other for Thanos' operatives. After their re-skirmish, the Guardians and the Avengers and Doctor Strange devise a plan to ambush Thanos and remove the gauntlet from his hand, causing jokes, alien references, and Star-Lord referencing Jesus. Because we need religious subtext in this movie. So, yeah. And Nebula arrives on Titan. As Nebula plans to arrive on Titan, Strange uses the Time Stone to see into the future, and he revealed that there were over 14 million outcomes, and there is only one that will ensure victory. Oh boy, I wonder where that leads to. As such, we go back to Wakanda, and the army is prepared for war. Led by Black Panther, they begin their defense against the remaining members of the Black Order of the Children of Thanos, Gal, Obsidian, Midnight, and the army of Thanos. The battle quickly turns into the favor of the Black Order as Wakanda forces are overwhelmed by Thanos' enormous army of Outriders who begin penetrating Wakanda's shields. Yeah. Scarlet Witch arrives to assist, and the awesomeness of Lord of the Rings epic scale battlefield continues to get worse and worse for our heroes. As Shuri is unable to complete the operation on the Mind Stone, as Gav attacks the tower in which Vision is held, forcing him to flee to the battlefield due to Scarlet Witch assisting coming out. However, the tide turns in the favor of the Avengers when Thor, Groot, and Rocket arrive with the newly fashioned Stormbreaker. With Thor now back on Earth, the team is able to kill the remaining members of the Children of Thanos, as well as the herd of attacking Outriders. Then we go back to Titan. Thanos arrives and is greeted by Doctor Strange. He gives him a brief but impassionate speech to Strange in which he explains that Titan used to be his home and this beautiful world before overpopulation drove it to ruin. His plan, Thanos' plan was, okay, we gotta kill half the population. We need to survive, so we're gonna kill half of it. However, he was ignored and labeled an insane, psychopathic Mad Titan. Emphasis on his title. After witnessing the destruction of his homeworld, Thanos made it his life goal to rid the universe of half of all of its beings in an effort to preserve the other planets. Well, at least that's a better motive than the whole, I want to fuck Mistress Death. And all I'm thinking is, wow, the dating service really sucks, doesn't it, for you? I'm like, okay. So, yeah, this leads to epic battles of grand proportions with Wakanda versus the army of Thanos and the heroes of the Avengers and Guardians and the Sorcerer Supreme versus Thanos. Nebula also arrives to help out, mostly in her attempt to get revenge. And then they almost get their plan to succeed and almost win. Yeah, they almost win. Just when you're hoping, yeah, they're going to do it. They're going to stop Thanos. They're going to save the world. They're going to probably do something regarding the deaths of everybody that's died so far. And when they were so close, Nebula had to blurt out that, yeah, Gamora's been killed. But it's not him that doesn't cause this operation to fail. Star-Lord does it! Congratulations! Thanos is then able to overpower the team by summoning a meteor shower from a moon. Awesome! Thanos then stabs Iron Man and prepares to kill him, but then he gets stopped by Strange, who exchanges Stark's life for the Time Stone. With 5 of the 6 stones, Thanos decides, yeah, it's time to finish this fight. And everyone's freaking out. Star-Lord says the obvious statement that really is understandable. Did we just lose? Because honestly, I don't think no one in the Marvel Universe ever, quote, lost. Except for Zemo, except he didn't get anyone killed. At least in the Avengers group. Oh, he killed people, but, he didn't, kill any of the Avenger members. They just broke up. As such, Thanos arrives to Wakanda to claim the Mind Stone from Vision and complete the Infinity Gauntlet. However, Scarlet Witch at Vision's behest and destroys the Mind Stone, which kills Vision, while Thanos is currently being a badass and beating the crap out of everybody and nearly killing them. Yeah. And Thanos uses the Time Stone to reverse the destruction and retrieves it instead. And by this, he does what I called 2 years ago. He rips the stone out of his skeletal structure, ripping his head open. Called it! I called it, everybody! I called it! I called it, you mother effers! Yeah, I called it. So, anyways, Thanos. Yeah, here's the thing. With all 6 stones collected, Thanos is about to do what he dreamed for God knows how long. However, Thor arrives with the Stormbreaker and fatally impales him. Thanos is badly injured, but then does the obvious statement that I called as well, that Thor should have really went for the arm. And thus, he snaps his fingers before disappearing. Thanos goes into a state of limbo, finding himself in a mysterious landscape where he encounters a young Gamora. Thanos tells the vision of Gamora that he has accomplished his goal, and Gamora asks what it cost. Solemnly, Thanos says it cost him everything, before snapping his fingers with the gauntlet to summon the blitz of devastation that he so desired. As such, Thanos wins. Yeah, he wins. Back in reality, Thanos' snap begins to take effect as everything starts to fall apart. Bucky Barnes, Wilson, T'Challa, yeah, Black Panther's dead, Groot, and Maximoff collapse and fade into dust. Rogers, Banner, Thor, Rocket, Rhodes, some minor Black Panther, the guardsman lady, I can't pronounce her name, and Maboko and Romanoff are left standing alone in horror. Back on Titan, Quill, Drax, Mantis, Strange, and disappear. Before also joining them is Peter Parker collapsing and fade away in Stark's arms, saying that he's sorry. Nebula, being the only survivor on Titan with Tony Stark, remarks that Thanos has accomplished his goal to decimate the universe. The final scene shows Thanos on another planet, fully healed from his injuries sustained in Wakanda. He gazes out into the distance, into seeing a sun on another planet, sitting in what looks like a farm, peacefully and smiling at his satisfaction of what he's done, thinking he saved everybody, just as he's told Strange that he would. Doctor Strange had told Tony that there was no other alternative. And the movie ends. The movie doesn't end with a big orchestra vibe, grandiose opening sequence that really should have been in the opening sequence. No, it just goes Christopher Nolan-like. And then we get a post-credit scene. Nick Fury and Mara Hill are alive and well, witnessing New York suddenly fall into chaos as people begin to disappear. And then Mara Hill begins to fade away. When Fury realizes what's happening, he alerts a code red. Fury, however, he goes ahead and sends a distress signal to someone before he fades away, about to say his favorite line from every Samuel L. Jackson movie, "Mofo." But afterwards, he did send his distress signal. But the question is, where is this going? The logo shows red, blue, the insignia of Captain Marvel. Yep, Captain Marvel's coming, everybody. And then we get one more wording. Thanos will return. So, yeah, that was a big downer ending. Like, they killed half of everybody. I made the calculations. If you remove the characters that disappeared from the movie, 16 out of 26 are dead. And you want to know the funniest thing I just noticed? The only people that survived are really the original Avenger group, one member of Guardians of the Galaxy, and War Machine. Yeah, also Nebula. So, a lot of these characters are dead, but I don't think they're going to stay dead for long. Why do I say that? Well, here's the thing. There's been hints and suggestions that the fourth movie is a time travel movie. Yeah, it's going to be a time travel movie, and here's what I think this is where it's going to go. It's going to end not with a refixing of the timeline that doesn't have just no Thanos in it. No, it's going to create an alternate timeline system where it will explain how and also bring in most likely the X-Men, Deadpool, Fantastic Four, bring those versions of the comics, bring in probably the other characters of Spider-Man involved, because Yeah, they already said they're planning to integrate the X-Men and Fantastic Four. I don't know about Deadpool though. I'm pretty sure they're going to keep him on his own. But yeah, this ended on a pretty freaking dark note. That, we lost. We all lost, everybody. He got what he wanted. So now, Thanos is now the second villain to win in the end. Who's the first? Well, I already said it. Zemo won the first time. Why did Zemo win? Because he wanted to either kill the Avengers or get them to splinter down. And really think about this. What if he didn't get a chance to succeed in splintering the Avengers? Would they have a much better shot as a united front instead of being all divided? We'll never know. But it's an interesting what if. So, yeah, that's basically Avengers Infinity War. This was the culmination, part one of a 10-year culmination piece regarding the war for the Infinity and whatnot, for the Infinity Stones. And it was freaking awesome. And I wrote on Twitter that I went in acting like Brock Lesnar, being like a beast and whatnot. Like, yeah, let's do it. Bring it on. And then I left acting like Darth Vader, screaming, no! Because, yeah, they killed a lot of characters. Like I said, I don't think a lot of them are going to stay dead for long. Like, I know some might be back. Like, I know, like, okay, it'd be financial suicide if they kept Black Panther dead. They always said they want to make a movie and projected a potential release date for him, so long as Ryan Coogler's on board. But, yeah, it'd be stupid if they killed off Black Panther in the third appearance movie of his. Yeah, this was his third overall appearance in the MCU. First was Civil War, then it was his debut in a movie as the main character, and now we get this one. Yeah, he gets killed off in the third one. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's temporary. But yeah. So, Thanos has won for now. But the universe is now going to most likely descend into utter chaos and go in complete and abject ruin. And you want to know what I like about this? Thanos has actual believable motives and has a legitimate reason other than wanting to have the Mistress of Death in bed. Which, as disturbing as that sounds. In fact, he even talks about Gamora's people when he slaughtered half of their population, and he even revealed, and Gamora doesn't want to say he was right on that part, where her people were overpopulated, resources were down, but when he slaughtered half of the population, all of a sudden they're prospering. Yeah, when you give the villain a justification example to use as to say, I'm right, yeah, that's gonna add some layers and also cause a debate. Like, I know no one's gonna agree that killing half of the universe is the right way to go. In fact, you have more legitimate reasons to agree with Killmonger than you do with Thanos. But yeah, so yeah, Thanos was probably a very fleshed out character. Like, they did say they were considering doing a big backstory. I actually would have loved a Thanos movie. I would have loved to see a Thanos movie happen. Like, begin about his early life, the foundation of his order, his campaign, and end it when he goes out to the Nova Corps and takes the Power Stone, and that leads to him finding the Asgardian ship, and thus we go to Infinity War. That actually would have been pretty awesome. But I could get why they didn't do it. I'm pretty sure fanfiction writers would probably come up with something. But yeah, there are a handful of problems here. I will say it. There are some problems here. Like, honestly, I'm just surprised Star-Lord was the guy that fucked it all up. Yeah. Yeah, I honestly expect either Drax to F it all up or, anyone. Like, I would expect Tony Stark to at least say that he knows what it's like to give into rage, that he knows what it's like to lose someone he cares about, lose people he loves, not get closure out of it. Bucky Barnes, the death of his parents. Yeah. I was expecting Tony Stark to do something like that. So, we never get that, so apparently Tony Stark's character arc is not yet completed when it comes to his vindictiveness regarding Bucky Barnes and Captain America. Maybe in the future, maybe in Avengers 4, when everything has to come to an end on this round. So, yeah, we're in the 2-part finale, and this is where the confusion comes in. The next movie is Ant-Man and the Wasp, which takes place after Civil War, but before Infinity War. Yeah, that's the confusing part. Why? Why couldn't they just go ahead and release both parts of the movie in the same year? Wait, like, one in January and one in December. They could have done that. Because this causes a confusion for audiences who are not really that engrossed with Marvel and timelines and continuity. Because there's also Captain Marvel, which is said to be set in the 1990s. So you got 2 movies to follow through that are essential to know what the hell happened to Ant-Man, where was he, and where the hell is Captain Marvel the whole time if she's been around since the 1990s. So, yeah, this is going to lead to some questions. I am firmly believing that they can solve this, that Marvel can fix this problem. They can release a timeline that they said they were going to do after Spider-Man Homecoming happened. So, yeah, I'm expecting that they're going to go ahead and make a timeline release, official timeline guide to get everything all fixed and whatnot, and also explain why the God's name they decided to make 2 big movies, basically tie-in movies. Yeah, that's the vibe I get. It's like they're treating this 2-part event so big that they needed 2 tie-ins to explain things. If that was the case, then they would also have to make a Hawkeye movie and then make a 3rd tie-in movie. So, yeah. We got a lot of... If the cinematic universe actually ended there with Infinity War, that would have been the biggest, ballsiest move and most depressing way to go out. I mean, like, Star Wars has already done that with Disney's reboot, where they made every character that worked their asses off in the original and prequel trilogy mean absolutely nothing and make them miserable, and then they all just die in life, not feeling any satisfactory completion with their lives, knowing that everything they worked for was ruined, with them still alive, and now expect someone else to fix their job for Yoda's stupidity. But anyways, as I go on my ramblings of Star Wars conspiracy theories. But, yeah. This, while it is honestly a masterpiece in its own right, it's a little flawed. It's basically a flawed masterpiece for me. There's a lot of good stuff in here. Yeah, I get why some people were saying the character stuff was, wait, what's going on here? What's going on there? Like, you're trying to keep track of all these characters. But I did love that they try to give the vibe that if you're looking at the Guardians of the Galaxy, you feel as Guardians of the Galaxy. If you're looking at Thor, you get the vibe of Thor. If you look at Iron Man, if you look at Peter Parker, you get their vibe. Like, yeah, like some of the music keeps switching around to try and give the vibe that these characters from their movies are here, and these characters from these movies are here. I really love that. That's actually pretty creative for me. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of people were happy to see that the comic Infinity Gauntlet has finally been adapted to the big screen. Now we just need Crisis on Infinite Earths from DC, which I know for a fact may never happen, and instead may happen on the CW show. Yeah, they're hinting at that. So overall, this movie is a flawed masterpiece for me. I cannot wait for the Blu-ray when it comes out. Rumor has it, it's actually going to come out on my birthday, August 14th this year. That's pretty quick. So, yeah, I believe I already know what my birthday gift's going to be. I'm probably going to get the Steelbook from Best Buy, but nonetheless, I would recommend seeing this movie, especially if you've been around for 10 years waiting for this movie. I've been around for 6, but I'm all caught up with all the Marvel movies. And I did say that I did say on Twitter a while back that I do plan to discuss, and I know what I'm about to say is completely crazy, try to catch up on all the TV shows, short films, the one-shot short films they made, and try and make thoughts videos on all those. But, Yeah, it's going to be a hard endeavor. I finished the Defenders. I'm now on the Punisher. I'm still working with the Runaways, trying to finish that up. But it's going to be a huge undertaking. But I believe I can hopefully get most of it by the time Avengers 4 happens. Oh god, I'm probably screwed, aren't I? And yes, that even means I'm going to watch Inhumans. Yeah. And like I said, why couldn't they go ahead and just at least cameoed at least some of the TV characters? Like, when we get past the moon, I was hoping that maybe they would show the city of the Inhumans. Or like, okay, remember, like, I've been reading the Dark Phoenix Saga comics. I'll tell you about that in the later future. Hopefully before X-Men Dark Phoenix comes out next year, since that got delayed. But I really loved this one specific scene. When Dark Phoenix emerges and is showcasing her power, we get all these short little cameo images of Doctor Strange, of Spider-Man, of Beast, of certain other heroes from the Avengers, from other comics that really had nothing to do with the X-Men story they were doing. All make cameos, feeling the effects, sensing this powerful presence and whatnot. Like, that would make a lot of sense for me if they did something similar to that with Infinity War. Like, how Jessica Jones and the rest of the Defenders, like, handled the situation regarding the panic in New York that went on. And then you see half of them disappear. You see, like after the events of Season 5... I don't know how that takes place anyways. So, yeah, you could go with Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a different debate. You could have maybe the Marvel Runaways show up and be in the background, and I'll have some of them disappear. Like, there are so many cameo opportunities they could have done. Like, I'm not asking for them to get big roles. Like, that's next to impossible. But I want to see, like, civilian effects on, like, other characters that aren't in the big screen. And that would mean, like, give hope for people who want to see these characters come to the big screen, or at the very least be acknowledged that, yes, everything is connected. But we don't get that, and we just get this further big division that, oh, the Marvel TV shows, even though we're saying it's part of the cinematic universe, they don't really matter. But the movies, they still matter to us. I really feel like that could have been a huge opportunity, but they didn't take with it, and that's honestly pretty disappointing for me. That's where I think the major glaring flaw I had with it, why I would say it's a flawed masterpiece. And yeah, there are some other things like Star-Lord being very screwing up on this. Like, I get why he screwed up, like the love of his life died, and really, if you think about it, it's a pretty human reaction. Like, really think about it. His mother died. He never got to really properly say goodbye. He ran away and then got taken and screamed for his mother's name and couldn't take her hand when she died. He realized his father was a gigantic piece of shit who killed his mother because he was too emotionally attached to her. And now he learns that the love of his life was killed by her father. On the one hand, I'm also pissed off because that gives Mace Windu all the credentials in the world to believe that attachments are the devil. So, yeah, so I bet Mace Windu is happy in another universe, celebrating like, see, I told you all, motherfuckers! Attachments are evil. So, yeah, and I did love that Thanos does generally mean that I hope they remember you. Because and here's the thing I noticed. He could have killed all the other characters at any point. Like, he's not, like Chris Stuckman in his spoiler review after I seen the movie brought up, I think it was Matthew Brando or Flickpick, they mentioned how Thanos could have just killed them all right away, but didn't. He let them live and decides to let the Infinity Stones do the whole job of indiscriminate killing. As if, yeah, if you live, fine, you live. But if you die, yeah, you die. I'm not going to be the judge, jury, and executioner. The Infinity Stones are going to do the job. And that honestly adds a new layer for Thanos. Like, he hopes that people remember the Avengers, remembers the Guardians. But there is one question I have. How does Thanos know who Tony Stark is? Yeah, like, he says that he just knows. Like, wait, is there a stone that grants him knowledge? Is it the Reality Stone? That would make sense for a little bit, but... yeah. And in fact, I'm a little glad he didn't go with the generic villain speech of, "We are not so different, Tony Stark." Because, really, if you thought about it, Thanos wants to say, believes he's the hero of the story because he believes that overpopulation will lead to the universe being destroyed. Oh, don't worry, space and time will do that for us when the stars go out and everything is left in empty blackness. Yeah, I had to do that. But really think about it. Tony Stark has kind of the same mentality in terms of wanting to save people he cares about and save the world. But his way is very questionable. Like, it led to the creation of Ultron. We all know how that worked out, right? So, yeah. Everything looks pretty grim. We can't wait for Avengers 4, and we have to wait for a whole year for that. I bet that's going to piss people off as time goes on. And this movie has made over $600 million in its opening weekend alone. That beat The Force Awakens. That should say something. This is what happens when you build a universe and you build it up to this moment. And I don't think Star Wars will ever do such a thing. Mostly because the prequels exist, therefore Disney can control it directly with a puppet. Kathleen Kennedy. So, yeah. These were my thoughts on Marvel's The Avengers Infinity War. And by extension, technically a part 1, because this does also feel like a part 1, even though it can stand on its own if you wanted it to just end here. But, yeah, those were our thoughts on Marvel Studios' The Avengers Infinity War. This was Neo Reality Entertainment. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and donate. And stay tuned for more.